Hello, ladies, gentlemen, boys, and girls of the AMS universe out there. It is the long absent and ever silent true assassin. finally, finally doing another video for you guys. One of these days I'll be way better about keeping consistent on doing videos. I realize that Deep Battle is this weekend. There's an update that's been out for a while that I've been wanting to do. I just hadn't had a few things tested out, so today I made time to test things, and I'm finally ready for this video. So, as the topic says, it is in regards to the Air Force update that they did. Interesting. Okay. Sorry I hadn't been in there for a while. So, with the Air Force update that they did back in October, maybe even longer than that, I don't remember. You have options with your planes. You actually have a garrison settings, which means you have a development zone and you have a war zone. You can put planes in there, and basically these buffs are staying active all the time. So it doesn't matter if your Air Force is at home, it doesn't matter if your Air Force is out, you're getting the buffs that the airplane that you have set in that zone will stay with you regardless of what you're doing. So with the Vampire, or any plane that you have gear on and you have your income increased, obviously that doesn't change. So your utilization rate of training, your training speed, stuff like that all stays active. The one thing I haven't quite tested out yet in regards with this is your gathering speed, which is basically the rate that you gather resources. Since that's not even showing on here, I'm going to assume that it's safe to say that gathering speed is still only in effect when that plane is out actively gathering, sent on that march. Because when I go in here and look at this plane, you can see I've got plastic and metal gathering increased in there. And so there's plastic gathering, paint gathering, more metal gathering, and paint and electric gathering also. But yet in the garrison, it doesn't show anything about, whoops, wrong spot again. It doesn't show anything about gathering speed. So I'm going to say gathering speed is still only taken into effect when that airplane is sent out on the march. But all the other buffs from it, you don't have to have the Air Force home in order to get those. So that is nice, because before, if you were trying to do something and you had your Vampire out gathering, because it does gather quickly, if you have it all set up properly or set up for that, you would be getting your gathering speed buffs, but while the plane wasn't home, you wouldn't be getting your income buffs. So it was a plus and a minus all at the same time. For the Warzone plane, I really like this aspect of it also, because with your Warzone plane, all the attributes you have from that plane, your gears, your skill set, everything is active all the time. 24/7, doesn't go away. So even if you have your plane currently out either on a gathering tile or actively out on a march attacking someone else, and if you get attacked at the same time, your plane is still actively defending you. Therefore, you're still getting all the buffs of having your plane at home, even though it's not. So you can go kill someone and decimate them, and if someone who's got the exact same troops as you, but their Air Force is weaker, they attack you, all because their Air Force is weaker, they're going to lose because your Air Force is still technically garrisoned at home. So it is very nice. I do like that a lot. Now, the problem with this, I guess I can't really say it's a problem. Everyone knows that the developers do like money. I mean, who wouldn't? I mean, this game has made a lot of money, so they just keep looking for more ways to get more of it. The downside to this is for people who only have one plane, because you don't spend any money. All you have is the vampire. You're at a disadvantage because you cannot have your plane garrisoned in both places at the same time. And since your Air Force tree for attributes on the vampire is very expensive, when you start getting up there, it does make it, because here I'm at 418,000 points for each research. So even though I have 4 million points almost, I'm only going to make it through maybe 6 researches before all of my stuff is gone, and 6 researches really wouldn't give me very much based on where I am now. This is why I tell people that if you do have 2 planes, use the vampire for gathering, only research on the right side. Only the right side, nothing in the middle, nothing on the left, only the right side, because it'll make your training cheaper, because you have this down here, which increases your utilization rate of resources by 10%. I know it's not a huge amount, but it is still better than nothing. And even if you didn't use it for that, you have your gathering speeds for each resource goes up 30% plus 10% from this up here, so gathering speeds 40% increased, and it also does increase your income as well. And then you have your load increase here up to 30%, which is huge also, because it means you can send less troops out to a tile, or you can put your troops in your core gathering for an even longer amount of time, because they're just going to gather until they can't anymore. So the larger the load size is for gathering, the more resources you can get with a fewer troops. So it's always a plus to have that up. But back to what I was saying about the players with only one plane are at a disadvantage. For one, you then have to decide how you're going to play. Do you want to play offensive or defensive? If you want to play offensive, and if you have 2 sets of gear, which the odds of that are slim, but if you do have 2 sets of gear, you would have to go in and actively change out the gear set that you have on your one plane. You have to go in and change this anytime that you're going to attack someone and change it up. I personally, just because resources are hard to come by and it is a huge help to have them, I personally myself, if you are in a field where you're not able to attack during the week, I would have your vampire set for development zone, and I would have it with gears that help with gathering, troop training, your resource income, those type of things is what I would have it set at. And then on weekends for kill event and the deep deep kill event, that's when I would change it to a Warzone and then apply your other set of gears. Just because of how much work that takes, and the fact that then in your research tree for your vampire, you're going to be on both sides of this and you're not going to get very much done. I'm sorry to tell you, unless you have a magic way of getting the Air Force points here, yeah, it's you're just not going to get very far. You're either going to be on one side or the other, or not very far on both, kind of like I am with mine. I strongly recommend buying a second plane. I'm not going to say which one it is. I am only going to make the suggestion of, if you have your vampire set to attack, if you have it all developed on the left side of your attribute tree, I would buy the F-117, simply because the F-117 will help you out the most with gathering and your income, because that's what it's set up for. The damage to toys, that stuff really is irrelevant when you think about the grand scheme of things, and if you've watched some of my other videos, you will know exactly why I say that. So if your vampire set up and it's all maxed out on the left side, I would buy the F-117. If your vampire's either mixed or all the way on the right side, I would say get the S-Wing or the Stormwind. I'm not a huge fan of the shadow airship, mainly because its main focus is on commandos, and commandos actually are not my strongest troop, so for me to have that one is kind of redundant. Unless all you're ever going to train is commandos and you're going to focus on commandos, having that Air Force gun, that the gunship is just going to be null and void. You're not reaching your max potential. So I would go with either the S-Wing or Stormwind. Both are good. Most people I talk to seem to like the S-Wing. I kind of lean towards that also. But that's just all a matter of preference. But the main focus here on this is just remember to make sure you do have a plane garrisoned. Like I said, if you just have the one, do switch it up during the week as long as you have 2 sets of gears. If you don't have 2 sets, if all you have is attack and all you focused out on is attack for your research tree on your plane, and if you're fine with that, then cool. Just keep the one plane. But if you're looking for a little bit better edge, have 2 planes so that way you have one focused on your gathering and income and your other one focused on fighting. That's just my preference on those. I guess the only thing I do need to add into this is that, just for clarification purposes, the Warzone plane is there only for when you get attacked. So if you have your vampire set up the way I do to help out with your income and things like that, putting it in your Warzone is going to do you no good whatsoever. Because it's just not going to work out that way. It is sensitive to the areas that it helps out, which is why in here it doesn't show the little bit of attack and defending buffs that my vampire does have. When we go back into our tree over here, I've got the attack buffs for all 4 troop types, but that's not in there. It's because the development zone does not help out with defending. It's there just for making sure that research, building, troop training, income, gathering, all that is increased. So make sure that if you're not sure which one to go with, it's very simple. You can even just sit here, switch it out, or just say you're going to switch it out and look at the differences in your stats. If I put this plane up here, it'll show that I have the troop training stuff, but it's all way reduced. And then I have those. So, I mean, you can see what you're going to get from the plane before you switch it out. So if it's not what you want, don't do it. But you'll be able to tell. And I'll do it here just real quick. If I put this in here, all I get is a troop training speed up and an increase to defense facility building. And that's all I get. I'm sorry, but that is definitely not worth it to me to switch that out. So I'm going to keep my S-Wing down here in my Warzone. I would currently show you a video of a defense where someone has their set plane out. However, doing that to someone I don't know is actually pretty hard because there's no guarantee that they only have the one plane. So I was going to use my farms to show you, but there's only one way I can think to do that, and I need to have my other device available, which at my current moment I do not. So that if I get enough comments for that, I will do another video showing and proving that with only one Air Force and having that Air Force sent out, I will go in and attack, and that Air Force will still be active in the war zone and helping defend during an attack. The other thing I did find out, this has nothing to do with the planes, it's just how the game has changed. When you attack someone, it only shows the skills when in the battle report. Here, let me go in just one here and I'll show you. So here we are. In this report, I only had I'm pretty sure I only had sent in commandos to reinforce one of my farms here. So all the officer stats, they're still going to show everything that they do. Excuse me, I think this one was actually helicopters. Helicopters and vehicles, I apologize. It only shows all of my attributes for vehicles and helicopters and things that'll affect both. So total troop attack, total troop defense. Anything for commandos isn't in here. Even with my Air Force gear, nothing pertaining to commandos is in here because I had no commandos active in the battle. So if you're ever thinking about it and you're like, hey, my stats aren't showing up properly in here, think if you have all troop types there or not. Obviously, it's not showing anything for artillery either. If I had a report saved of me using all 4 troop types, it would then show all of them. But because I don't really ever do that, it's only showing for the 2 troop types that were involved in my side of the battle. So just another thing to keep in mind. If you think that something's amiss, it's not. Unless you sent in a troop type and there's no stats for it, then something is amiss. Otherwise, it's showing the right thing. So based on what I had just said, this person on the right side, you can already tell all they sent was vehicles and helicopters also, because there's 0 stats here on the right. Oh, I lied. Their troop strengthening is showing that they've got the 90% for commandos, so they do have commandos in there. They just must not have anything in their technology for commandos, which is strange. But anyways, just a little bit of show for that. If you think that something's messed up by stats not showing, just make sure that it's showing for the troop types you sent, and if so, it is correct. Because at first it threw me off too. I'm like, hey, where's all my stats at? Oh, they're irrelevant because I didn't send that troop type in. So that's basically a rundown of how the new Air Force update works, my thoughts on the planes, and how to best set yourself up for success, whether you have 1 plane or 2. So if you have multiple planes, it's even better, because obviously then you can attack multiple targets. But if you don't have the officer capacity to send out multiple marches, you're still not doing a whole bunch of good to yourself. But that's a video for a later time. You guys all enjoy. I hope everyone is having very good holidays around the world. And yes, I will have more videos soon. I do apologize for being so inconsistent with this, but I'm going to get much better. The only other thing I do need to say is thank you very much to everyone. We are almost 600 subscribers at this point. I'm very excited for that. At the same time, I'm not, because now I have to go and do what I said I was going to, which is after I got above 500 subscribers, I have to do a drawing. So, I do have to wait till I have the fundage, but in 4 weeks, I will have the money. I'm gonna be going out and getting 10 gift cards. No, 20. Yeah, 10 $20 gift cards. I'm gonna have 5 for Apple and 5 for Gmail, for Google Play. So those will be going out. I have not yet decided how I'm going to figure that out. I'm assuming I'm probably going to have a like, share, and comment requirement on a specified video. It's more than likely what I'm going to do, but I haven't fully decided. So if anyone has any ideas, I'm new to this whole thing, never done this before, so if you have any ideas at all for figuring out who is going to be the winners of the gift cards, please let me know, so that way I can get those considerations put in and see if there's a better idea out there other than some drab thing that I have thought up in my head. So, that being said, you all have a wonderful day. Thank you very much for your support and for watching. It does mean a lot. True Assassin out.